Oh man, I absolutely love the sound of rain. So soothing. It's a good thing I live in a really wet country, eh? I feel like a bit of a drug dealer today. Seems to be a sugar shortage, but have no fear. We've got plenty of the good white stuff, the sweet white stuff. I've been bribed into happiness too. Been treated to gold bars, tea cakes, and fancy coffee. Right? How you're doing? Because I haven't had particularly great news today, but as weird as it's going to sound, thanks to one little software update I've been tinkering today, which has lifted my spirits. It really is as ridiculous as it sounds. But keeping the mind busy or just fiddling with something you enjoy, which sounds so wrong on so many levels, is really enough to just make not great, pretty sound. So I want to throw out there, first of all, this is not an advertisement for Elgato products. I am not sponsored by Elgato. I have never been sponsored by Elgato. I am usually pretty critical of Elgato, AverMedia, any company. I'm usually pretty critical. If I have problems with something, and I usually do have problems, not only am I unlucky, but I spank the ever-loving soddery out of most hardware I get. When I have problems, people know about them. But I think with a recent software update and a piece of hardware that got announced yesterday, I think, that's due out on the 22nd of this month, Elgato may have literally just kicked TC Helicon and Beacon square in the nuts. Right? Because TC Helicon make the Go XLR, which is a hardware software mixer combo, audio mixer primarily. It's got a nice little kind of set. It's a hardware mixer with faders and stuff. You plug loads of stuff into it. It's got DSPs in it so that anything that you kind of run through it is done in hardware. So you don't put any like extra stress on your machine. And realistically, the cool part about the Go XLR is that you can add a set of effects directly through the Go XLR, and that effects chain, that audio chain, will go to everything you run your microphone through, right? So you've got like a compressor, a noise gate, EQ, de-esser. It doesn't matter if you've just done something for your live stream or you're on a Zoom call or whatever. All of those effects stick, and it works with headsets. Like as long as you got like the L2, 2 audio connections, the headphone connection and the microphone connection, that'll go straight into the front. Or if you plug in an XLR microphone, same kind of groove. Now Beacon it's a software level audio mixer. So it literally interfaces with your operating system and takes control of all audio, realistically. So the Windows sound mixer, and if you plug in like USB microphones or interfaces which then run other microphones, you can control various things through Beacon, be that the Beacon Mix and the Beacon Mix Create. Elgato had something similar in the Wave microphones, Wave 1 and Wave 3, and then the Wave XLR. Elgato also have a magical piece of kit called a Stream Deck. It's an interface for a bucket ton of stuff. It's got a bunch of buttons on it, and you can just go, I want to control stream scenes. So if I press a button, I want to go to my live scene. I want to go to my Be Right Back scene. I want to hit record. I want to hit start or stop stream. I want to turn on lights. One second. I want to turn on and off lights and stuff. All sorts of stuff can be done through Stream Deck. You can open apps, you can close apps, send tweets, as I say, like lights, all that. And then they've updated it to do some magic bits. The new thing that they're releasing is the Stream Deck Plus. It's an Elgato Wave and a Stream Deck smushed together. Well, actually, it's a Stream Deck and a Beacon mix smushed together. So you've got software level audio controls through Elgato's Wave stuff. I didn't actually explain what Wave is, but Wave is, imagine the Go XLR, but instead of having physical faders and stuff, loads of physical dials and dooblies, you have to do it all in software. But you have to have a Wave device plugged in to have access to the software, right? Not anymore with the Stream Deck Plus. You can do what you do on a Beacon with the Stream Deck Plus, control all of your system level audio, new-ish feature. You can control the Wave software, and now you can run any microphone you hook into your system through the Wave software. I don't have a Stream Deck Plus, but I want one for my laptop. Laptop? Why would you want it on your laptop? It's pretty big for a laptop. But the idea being that because it allows me to use any microphone I wish, which is kind of the selling point for me for the Wave software, I can use a headset microphone with it and use any number of VSTs and things on said software microphone and have all of the multi-channel mixing stuff that I would have had with the Wave XLR and the Wave 3 or the Go XLR or the Beacon. I can have all of that with a headset microphone, meaning that I can bin off carrying a Stream Deck, I can bin off carrying a Wave 3, I can bin off carrying a Wave XLR or whatever it is that I choose as an audio interface, and just literally go headset and do some magic jiggery pokery with that. But that's a groove for the future. I can take a few bits out of my backpack just have that. But the software update that Elgato released was fantastic, because whilst I don't have the Plus, I'm comboing my Wave XLR and a Stream Deck together to get near enough the same results. Near enough. Kinda. Totally the same. With the exception of this is 2 devices rather than one neat and tidy package. Apologies as well if I keep boshing the microphone with the camera, but, you know, just deal for a bit. This isn't like, oh, top 10, this is my great times, and the glare from my light isn't helpful here. But the trick is, it's the exact same stuff as the Stream Deck Plus, but it's 2 devices. One to run the microphone, and one to do the rest of the software jiggery pokery that a Stream Deck would normally handle. This unlocks the Wave software. This does all of the control-y bits, which in the grand scheme is actually what makes the Go XLR and the Beacon better than this combo here, because the Go XLR and the Beacon, you had full control of your audio on the device, albeit the Go XLR was only 4 channels and the rest was split in software. But the Beacon, I don't have a Beacon. I've never used a Beacon. I don't know how many things you could do on it, but you had a physical interface to fiddle around with to adjust levels and stuff. The Wave was literally, and same on the regular microphone, you've got mute toggle, which is just on the top of this unit, which I won't press because I'm using the microphone. And then you've got gain, volume up and down, headphone up and down, and then system mix. More audio from there, so you can monitor your microphone or system sounds or whatever. And then to do any of the extra level of control, you either then had to go back over to your PC, right? So you'd have to come over here and start fiddling with software to adjust settings, or you could assign controls to the Stream Deck, right? But that would mean that you would have to buy both. You would have to buy a Stream Deck, whether it be the I think the 6-button may do it, so the mini, the 15 key, and the bajillionty key that this is, right? You'd need to buy both to get the functionality of the Go XLR or the Beacon. But now you don't, because, as I say, the Plus, the Stream Deck Plus, unlocks the features of the Wave as well. And so cool note here is that all these buttons, you can it's a macro keyboard. So you can assign key presses and things to all this. As I say, like earlier, I've got this one here. Turns on and off lights. I actually had this set up. I haven't used this in quite some time, but I had this set up at one point to control all of the lights in my house and change the LED colors for my kids' bedrooms. So you have all of these individual keys, and then you can actually assign multiple inputs per key. So you could set up a macro to say, I want to open up like Chrome, and then once I open up Chrome, I want to have a tab open up that opens up Twitter and Facebook and YouTube and Twitch, and all in one key press. Or you could like macro. Creatives like this a lot. People working on video editing, graphics, and all that kind of stuff. You could assign macro keys to be like, just as an example, Control C, Control V. You could assign those to keys. You could assign shortcut keys in Photoshop, Premiere, Final Cut, whatever it is you're doing. You could assign all of these different keybinds to buttons on here. Applications you wanted to open or close, shortcut keys, just all sorts of magical fluff. In fact, people have used these. Some people, you could assign hundreds of macros to just this unit with the page flipping feature. So you go, oh look, I've got 30 odd buttons here, one button to go back, one button to go forwards, and I've got another 30 odd buttons to go through, and you could just loads and loads and loads. I've seen people stack these, XLs, like 3 XLs next to each other because they just want more macro keys, right? It's absolutely insane what people use this for. But you always had to have one of these if you wanted to have a more hardware way of interfacing with the Wave software. And so that's kind of what I did today. If you see here, this is my stream output audio. You don't have to use it for streaming, obviously. You can use it for other stuff, like system-wide audio, and as I say, like graphics editing, video editing, and all that kind of stuff. I've got headphone mix and my stream mix, so I can flip between the two to hear what people are hearing, or what I want to have it set to, because you can have multiple levels through Wave. So I can have my music blasting out full, but have nothing go out to the stream, which is nice, because people don't really like to listen to Jimi Hendrix and then jump into Belphegor. This top row here, I can use this to mute any number of the Wave channels, right? So I've got, browsers and gameplay and chat and all that. And I can adjust the volumes just by going boop. And that fader will go all the way to the bottom. And that is controlling my stream mix. But here's the cool thing, that this is really fucking neat. So the new Stream Deck, as I said, has system-wide software integration for audio, just like Beacon. Anything that plays sound on your machine, I've got one set for automatically detect. Anything that plays sound on your machine will come up here. So notice I've got volume sliders for system, Microsoft Edge, OBS, and the Wave software. I'm now going to open up Spotify on my PC. And then if I WAP, I probably shouldn't, because I'll get a wee flag. But if I just quickly do it, I should. Oh, there you go. Spotify is now on that page. Oh, and when you can mute the whole thing by just going boop, and there you go. Spotify, the app is now muted from the Windows Sound Mixer. You can change the volume by pressing up and down, and that's system wide. And just this is fantastic. And if I stop using the app, you can make it so that they all stay on there. But if I stop using Spotify, bam, it just goes away. And then if I were to say, open up Discord, as soon as Discord makes any kind of sound, bam, here you go. Discord opens up. Not entirely sure why there's two, but there's two. And there you go. And I can adjust levels. That is just absolutely amazing to me. Full system-wide sound mixing, like Beacon, plus wave integration, all built into one neat and tidy box. $200. That's phenomenal. Streaming has come a long way. This is primarily sold as a streaming device. Has come a long way since I started a long time ago. Full bore macro keyboard. I mean, okay. Other things you can do with the Stream Deck, yeah? Fully integrated with Twitch chat or other chat, right? So you can go, I want to go into follower only mode. I want to see how many people are in my chat. You can set up a widget. You could set up a little clock widget on one of the buttons so you can see what time it is. You can see how fast your fans are running or your CPU temperature. I think the fans is one of them, but CPU temp is definitely one of them. For the first Rand Nerds 24 hours, we used a Stream Deck Mini sat next to us, like across the other side of the room. Just show us who was in the chat. Just listed how many people are viewing the stream. You know, whenever you get a new follower alert, have that tick up. You can have it do so many neat little things, and there are more add-ons being made for it pretty much on the daily. There's like, I think you can even install stuff from like GitHub. You can add in loads and loads of third-party add-ons. Phenomenal what you can do with this. Then tie in the audio stuff. What a great piece of kit. As I said, for in my opinion, all of those extra features, all of that functionality in one neat, tidy box, plus now it opens up the Wave software if you get the Plus, right? And just, you can use it on any microphone, because that's one of the other things. The downside with using Wave and Steam Deck, for me, because I use Wave, you can combo it with like GoXLR, and I think you can actually combo in with Beacon. There might be add-ons for Beacon for Stream Deck, which is cool, right? The thing with using Wave, though, main gripes I had, early days, software wasn't ideal, but that's usually the case with early days of any software integration, right? But the Wave 3 did not work properly with my laptop. If I plugged in the Wave 3 and a wireless mouse dongle, the Wave 3 would stop working. Wasn't necessarily a fault with the Wave 3, but the way that my laptop's USB was doing its thing, right? Because if you plugged into USB-C, it worked fine, but through the USB-A ports on a Zephyrus G14, it was not happy. And you'd have the same thing if you plugged in like an Xbox dongle or something like that. But the GoXLR worked fine. The Waves didn't. And it wasn't just Wave, but that was one of the grieves I had. Plus, I don't like just having all of my audio route through one device. So the bonus to the Plus for me, because it unlocks all of the other microphones, is that if I'm using the Wave 3 and I want to use the Wave software, because it's all right, it's neat, because you've got your mix, and then you've got a sub-mix for the stream. So as I say earlier, if I wanted to listen to music, but I didn't want that to go into any other thing, I can say, don't send it. I can do completely different things, or I could mute my friends in chat so they didn't go through on stream, or if you want to talk about anything personal, I could just mute everyone and the stream would get a completely different audio mix to what I was hearing. Sub-mixes, absolutely fantastic. But you had to have one of these devices hooked up. You had to, because that's how you got the software to work. So if I then wanted to do anything on like my guitar, or if I wanted to do any other audio work, the wave had to kind of go in the bin, or I'd have like a wave hooked up, and then I'd have like a Focusrite Scarlett, like 2i2, or a Solo, or a Behringer UMC 204 HD, or some other, like a Motu M4 or whatever, like or a bigger interface, or a mixing board or whatever. I'd have to have extra stuff hooked up, or have to disconnect one thing, then I'd lose all the functionality that I've just had set up, which was often the case. Like if, I want to use a Blue microphone, or I want to use my Shure MV7, or I want to use the Focusrite and another thing, like an SM50. I haven't got a 7B, but like a 58 or a 57 or an Electro Voice RE20 or like any other microphone. You couldn't do it. It just didn't work with Wave. So you'd have two separate audio configurations, or have to have a Wave device plugged in to keep the software open. It's just a bit of a ball ache. Now I can just go, I've got the Stream Deck Plus, and everything's there. Because again, like if I wanted to hook up MIDI devices, I'd have to have an audio interface with MIDI, and to plug in my guitar, or to plug in like someone else's like instruments, or to mic up a drum kit or whatever. We had to have these interfaces on hand. And I would end up like overcomplicating everything. I wasn't not necessarily like saying, "Hey yo, use like the Wave and the software, like the Wave XLR and the Wave 3 and the software for like music recording." No, but just sometimes I'd go, right, I want my browser to go through the browser source on the Wave software. But then if I disconnect the Wave, if it doesn't default my audio back, if Windows Sound Mixer doesn't default things back to a regular output, can't hear the sound, mate. So I have to then go back through Windows and reconfigure where everything goes, and it's just like, oh, what a ball ache. Now I don't have to worry about it. Or in future, if I get a Plus, I won't have to worry about it, because you could literally just go, example, Focusrite Scarlett 2i2, plug in your guitar, plug in your microphone, plug in your Stream Deck Plus. You've got all access to your Wave features and the 2i2. Fucking top notch. Like, to me, a lot of the complaints I've had with Wave over the years have been remedied with the Plus. Now, if only Stream Deck Plus was smaller. I do see maybe, possibly one day, eventually, Elgato possibly opening up the Wave software. That would be nice. Or give me a very, very, very small device, like the size of an iPhone, or one of the current Stream Decks, like, I don't know, something reasonably thick, where you can plug something into the top and just literally let it be a software interface, and just let me plug in a microphone, USB, unlock the Wave software, job done. You know, give me an interface that I can plug in like an XLR cable and or a headset microphone into it, USB-C out, headphones, done. Just a little tiny box, and I'd be happy as a pig in. You know, that would be my ultimate on the go. But the Stream Deck Plus will be fine, with the exception of the fact that it stands up, which it has to for ergonomics, because it's got dials on it for twiddly-twiddlies rather than buttons. It has got buttons, but it's got twiddly-twiddlies on it too, the old dials. And because the cable, for some reason, just juts right out of the back of it. I'm not going to show any pictures of it, just look it up. Instead of it having a nice recess where the cable goes in sideways and just, you know, comes out, it just goes, cable out the back. And you're like, if I take the stand out, that's going to be leaning on the cable. That's fucking dumb. But there you go. I really do think this is probably going to be one of the most popular products Elgato have ever fucking made. Because a lot of the things you can do with Stream Deck are fantastic. You do not need a Stream Deck. You do not need Wave. You do not need Beacon. You do not need Go XLR. before all this stuff existed, we were streaming just fine. We were using software mix or in Windows, or we were using actual mixing boards. But you know, this stuff has come a long way. You can set up your own macro keyboards if you want to. You can install apps on your phone to do the same kind of thing as Stream Deck. But I think this is a nice, well-made package that's fucking super easy to use that anyone can do. I think this is clean, absolutely fantastic. And these the software faders, I don't know if that's one of the newer features they've added in like literally over the last couple of days. Those are fantastic, straight out amazing. I think that might actually be a new feature because they were talking about that in a stream last night. Phenomenal, thank you. Design wise of the device is a bit jank, but the everything else, top notch, I think. As soon as I can get some pennies together, maybe after Christmas, I will grab one for myself, and it will live in my bag along with maybe a Motu or a Focusrite or a Behringer, whatever, and I will just combo them up. Hell, if I wanted to, combo it up with a fucking Go XLR. Because you can if you want. But with that said, I'm going to head off because I've been chattering on far too long about a macro keyboard that now doubles up as an audio mixer. For that, Elgato, you have literally kicked the shit out of Beacon and TC Helicon. You have kicked the shit out of them and just fucking nicked their lunch, mate. You've taken everything they got. You know, you've taken their lunch money, their girlfriend, their boyfriend, their family, their house. You've taken the lot with this one device. So as long as it's properly executed and there ain't shit tons of bugs, which I can't see why it would be, because these two work amazingly together, and it is just both devices slotted in together. Fucking great. You got a winner. So I hope you're well. And just playing with this has brightened my day. I'll see you all with a bit of luck in the next one.